Ooh.
All right, I hope everybody is having a great night, a great day too. I am going to be guest lecturing for Mr. Peter Olson, Professor Olson tonight. He apologized for not being able to be here, but he's just feeling a little under the weather with an ear infection. And but if you have any questions, you can still message him and he can respond that way. So before we begin, I just want to kind of go over this week's schedule with you guys. It follows the same pattern as in previous weeks, right? We have our live session tonight, and then you'll have your midweek critique on Thursday. And then you'll have to respond to a peer by Friday, and then the entire project is due on Sunday. The only difference is not only are you going to be completing the package portion of the PDF that you've been working off of, the InDesign file that you export as a PDF, but you're also then going to take your entire presentation and try and modify it slightly to fit your brand. So maybe that means that you're going to change like the footer link to one of your brand colors, or different things like that. Some of you have already been doing it through the month, so some of you others will have to make some minor modifications there. So let's jump in and look at the assignment first. And so again, this week you're doing your package design and final presentation. You guys have been working really hard. You've been really pleased with your designs and everything that you've been coming up with. And so we're just going to take one more step in the process of color theory and talk about package design tonight. And package design is a little bit of a different vehicle because it not only incorporates graphic design, but it also incorporates industrial design. And this is just a nice piece to add to your portfolio and your skill set. And you're going to see how things are just slightly different in terms of color when dealing with packaging for different arenas. So I hope you guys enjoy the lecture tonight. But as far as the thing, right, you're just going to be completing the remaining pages. And these are just some of the elements, and we'll go over all this tonight in the presentation that you should include on your package design. Some of you, it'll be slightly different because you chose a beauty product such as soap. So you obviously wouldn't have the nutrition facts label on yours, but other than that, almost all of them are gonna have these basic elements on there. And when it comes time to decide, you're going to either decide to do the pitched lid or the rectangular carry case. You just need to pick one. And then you'll click the link and it'll take you to a set of files. It'll give you the flat file, and then it'll give you the Photoshop mockup file, right? So you'll lay all of it out here, and then you'll be able to use the Photoshop mockup file to make it look, three-dimensional. So again, you only have to select one of these two. You don't need to do both. And then there's the walkthrough video on that. And then this again is just talking about making your presentation templates. And then we recommend Adobe Spark, but you're certainly free to use any video presentation tool that you feel comfortable with. Just make sure your link works and you're good to go. There's the rubric. And then tonight I'm going to go over some links, and all of these links are here. So don't worry about, oh, I wanted that link. All of them are located in the assignment. All right. So let's start by first looking at a student example. And so you're going to come up with three distinct designs, three examples of what you think your package would work well as. Now, it's not, for some students, they just end up like changing the colors a little bit. That it really isn't, that's kind of like the same design. We're really looking to see that you're just, working with the elements a little bit more than just changing the colors, right? Like, oh, I'll make this one green and I'll make this one yellow. So here you can see this particular student did the zinnia tea, and those are her three designs. And then, of course, there at the bottom, you can see the mock-up. So this one is done well, so that's why I'm including it as an example. Oh, I did want to hit on this really quick. So we're looking at a Pantone slide. So this is a perfect time for me to just demo this a little bit, I put this link up in the Slack channel, and this Columbia Omni Studio just came out with a definitive Pantone guide. So you might be wondering like, oh, I want to learn more about color theory. Where do I go after this class? This would be a great way to just learn everything about Pantone. Obviously, you're not dealing with everything in color, but if you really wanted to understand Pantone better, I definitely recommend checking out this guide, and you can jump between the chapters here too. It's really quite amazing. So let's say we just look at the science, right? It goes through like, you know, the 3 cones in the eyes and, you know, how we see and different things like that. It's really well done. How the colors refract, etc. So check out that link in the Slack channel. All right, so here I am back to my slide. And before we begin, I just wanted to talk minimally about the Pantone Matching System, PMS. And I wanted you to know that there is a science behind the colors, but you cannot achieve the exact same color in every single substrate. So for example, printing on plastic, hard plastic versus soft plastic versus fabric versus cardboard versus poster board, not poster board, a cardboard versus, you know, other materials will all render a slightly different color. So that's part of what the Pantone matching system is about, that they try to match these colors so that no matter what material you're printing on, it looks as cohesive as possible. So again, tonight we're talking about package design. And as you look at the right, we know these colors when we see the milk jugs, right? We know that red is whole and, you know, blue is 1% and all of that, right? But look how clever these designs are. So what does trend color awareness teach us, right? Color trend awareness is an important factor in assuring a package design's color is current. An understanding of the basic science and human perception of color, as well as consumer behavior, should guide our selections. So obviously, color is a key tool for a package designer. Color conveys messages about the brand, right? So we have a brand color, but color can also convey messages about the product category, whether it's a flavor or just a color connotation, right? What makes whole milk red? It can also convey price point. Certain colors certainly look more luxurious and other colors can look more cheap. It can also attract attention, right? So certain colors stand out more, right? Especially if they're on a shelf among competitors and the colors just can stand out among that sea of other competitors. So the roles of packaging are that the package itself is made to contain, right? So the product efficiently, you know, is contained efficiently to define the quantity of distribution and consumption. Secondly, it's there to protect, right? There's a lot of things that happen in transportation, the shock and different things like that, the vibration. So the casing of the product is there to protect the contents inside. Third, the package is there to preserve the materials inside. It's there to extend the shelf life, make sure that microorganisms and other contaminations, moisture, things like that don't get in. But then this is the part that really pertains to us as graphic designers. And that is that the product package is there to communicate and to promote, right? So it allows the consumers to identify and recognize the brand, and it also draws the consumer's attention to that information and influences their purchasing decisions. So it shouldn't really be any surprise that color can influence our purchasing decisions, but you might be taken back by how powerful color can be. For example, when consumers are presented with a new product, they tend to make decisions about a product quickly in about 90 seconds. And the single most important component in that decision is color. Color accounts for roughly 90% of our initial judgment, and it really it doesn't leave any wonder why companies spend so much time and money into logos, branding, and so forth, because color is very important and it matters a lot. And the package becomes the salesperson, right? You can't be standing there telling people what the product's all about. So the package has to do that effectively. So, but all of that to say, there is a paradox. And what is the paradox? Well, the paradox is that you want to identify with the category, so in this case, chocolate, but you also want to stand out from the competition. So you have to balance the two, right? You want to be distinct, but you also don't want to be so foreign that you don't fit in. Now, when you look at these chocolate bars, what is your initial thought? Anybody want to either type a response or just speak? Feel free.
I feel the different bars could mean like maybe one could be dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, you know, peanuts and crisps and stuff like that. It could be that.
Okay, so it could be flavor cues. So it could be like mint or blueberry, things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Do any of them feel like they don't fit?
The one in the black package,
Yeah, too dark?
too dark.
Okay. So let's take a look at these. I think you're gonna enjoy this particular set. This is Moonstruck, and they have done the logo in the chocolate color itself, the icon mark, and it's embossed. So it's raised up, yeah. And it's, you see this guy just playing this like flute on the moon itself. And then you have these wonderful illustrations. And so now the colors, do they have to represent flavor cues? Or do they just, are they just there to tell a story in a sense? Because the chocolate moon really stands out. Any thoughts on this one?
I like the silver one.
Yeah. So do you think, do you guys think that this represents a, like a, you know, a $1 candy bar type thing, or maybe like a $5 luxury chocolate bar?
The $5 luxury, definitely.
Yes, right? So again, we're going into how much packaging can change the entire product, right? The quality inside is still up for grabs. Obviously, over time, consumers will make a decision over the quality and whether they want to keep coming back. But the initial appearance, right, tells us it's one of luxury that we're going to really enjoy. And by the way, you might be hungry again after this presentation. So, so again, you want to fit the category, but you also want to stand out, right? That paradox. So what do you guys think of these sauces? They're sriracha sauces, sriracha, sorry, I can't even speak tonight. They've got like little patterns that represent the different flavor cues. So if you look at the yellow-green one, it's like ginger. And you look at the green-orange one, it's basil. And then the top right one is like chili. So nice colors, but not associated with spicy foods, I think. Makes you think you want to try them out. So this definitely would, is something that would stand out on the shelf. Is very distinct from the competition, but maybe too much potentially. Interesting with these metal tins. Sometimes we see the metal tins and we think of like, you know, like black pepper and different spices like that. Other times when we see the metal tins, we think of maybe turpentine and painting with oils, right? So somebody's saying when they see it with their eyes, they're like, no. And someone else is saying motor oil. Yeah, okay.
I'm just kind of surprised neither of them are in red, which normally would represent heat.
Okay, all right. So the chili pepper has a kind of reddish orange background, yeah?
Right.
So in the competitive marketplace, the package design must attract, create interest, and affect a consumer's purchasing decision. The goal is to differentiate your product as a unique brand. Now, this comes from Design Force Inc. And they're a company that works with major brands like Procter & Gamble and Lever and so forth. And this is their list of recommendations of what to consider before executing a design and your color choices, specifically dealing with packaging. The chocolate bars that you see to the right, I just love those. They use artwork from the 19th century artist Rousseau. He was a self-taught painter. He had these really detailed jungle scenes that to me are just really breathtaking. But going back to Design Force Inc., what are the things to consider? Well, you want to consider, what does your brand stand for? Who is the consumer? What about the brand, color included, prompts buy responses from the target consumer? And when packaging products for a global audience, what meanings are ascribed to the colors used and how should they be modified? Now, most of these questions you already answered in, I have another page of more questions. You already answered in your design brief, or it was answered for you, right? So that's good, right? You already thought of your personas, who your target audience is, you know your color, you know the connotations of your colors, and what things that they evoke. So the remaining questions that Design Force Inc. Also recommends is, can a unique color to be developed to support the brand? One that is unusual in its category. So right, if it's unique, then it's obviously going to stand out. Or can the brand signature color be combined with another color to achieve a distinctive look? Next question, how does the chosen package color or color combination make the consumer respond during the testing phase, right? You don't want to just go straight to packaging without doing some user testing. And then lastly, if the retailer shelves a few items from the product line, how effective will it be when blocked on the shelf set? Will it have a strong enough presence if, say, 3 items are merchandised in a particular storefront set, or if there's only from 6 that are available? So here I have some jellies, and there's obviously more jellies more flavor jellies that are available in this particular set, but would it still be okay if I only had 1 jelly or 2 jellies, right? That's something to consider, because sometimes some flavors are not popular and the store will not purchase the ones that aren't selling, right? Because they don't want things expiring on their store shelf and losing money. So, all right, so we are now going to look at some examples, and I have put them in different categories. Obviously, there's going to be a crossover of many categories, but as we look at the categories, we're just going to focus in on that one attribute. But like I said, there's definitely a crossover of many different ones. So our first category is enticing imagery. And as we look at the Firefly packaging, you'll notice that it really uses these tantalizing botanicals, right? They're lush, to really make you, draw you in. And I don't know, do you guys want to try some ginger tea, peach tea? Does that sound appealing when you look at these? Yeah, we got some yes definitelys, and yeah.
I want it, that's for sure.
I do too. I'm a little thirsty right now as I think about it, and I only have hot tea in front of me. But now this looks really refreshing. So yeah, it combines these beautiful illustrations with almost photorealistic illustration too, and then just a strong logo and artwork. Okay, so let's look at another one. This one is called Beak Pick, and this is a brand that launched in August 2019. I haven't seen it on my store shelf yet, but I'm curious if I will, and if and when. And it kind of elegantly fuses these birds and fruits together for a collection of teas, jams, and fruit preserves. So what are your thoughts on this one? Someone said it's a little strange, not appealing. Very creative and innovative, though.
Creative and weird because it's birds, but it also looks like fruit for some odd reason.
Yeah, okay.
The peach may be a little inappropriate. Well, it kind of looks a little inappropriate.
A little inappropriate. Yeah, okay. All right, so this one is, these are Russian ice cream bars, and particularly it was a new category in Russia for Oriental sweets. And so these flavor cues are a little bit different than maybe like what we are used to in Western culture. But you can see they've done these almost like these OG arches, and you've got almost like the henna-like designs in the background. Are these making you crave anything?
I like both of the designs. I would have thought they'd put the henna in with the colors and like kind of mix it a little bit better. But it looks like it stops like right at the words.
Okay, so
everything.
need a little more.
Yeah, that's what I would have done.
Okay, cool. All right, so again, we're just looking at enticing imagery. All right, so our second category is flavor cues. So like I said, there's always a crossover. So someone was saying that they agree with Ethan. The message is conveyed even though it's in a foreign language. All right, good point. So we don't have to necessarily know immediately on the store shelf what the flavor cues are. Like sometimes we automatically like, okay, I'm gonna grab the green bag and most likely it's gonna be the sour cream, right? Or I'm gonna grab the blue one and maybe it's gonna be salt and vinegar, or in this case, sea salt. So color plays an important part in terms of flavor cues, right? Consumers have connotations in their head, and matching the connotation just works. So here are some examples. Over on the right, these are waters. Obviously, you put water in a glass and you can charge a whole lot more money. And over on the left, we have some wines. But you can see just the flavor cues on the right for the water. We have intrigue, mango, arousal, blueberry, and curiosity, kiwi. And so here, the product is serving more as the flavor cue, right? We have the clear glass, and so when the product is colored for the flavor cue, you want the package design to just contrast that a little bit more. So for these palm juices, they've just tried to choose colors that really contrast it or harmonize with it well. So I think in particular, some of my favorites would be the complementary scheme of the purple and yellow. I like the analogous scheme of the orange and red. And this one with the light blue and the dark blue and more of the monotone, I think works well. So moving on, somebody's saying they love the banana one. I've never tried these. I'll have to look for them. So this one is some water, and again, just globally, things are marketed a little differently than maybe how they would be in the United States. So that's something to consider too when you take a product and eventually if you're going to launch it internationally, how is that going to be received in other countries? I remember watching this show back in the early 90s where they were taking products from around the world and then showing you the names or the translation of the names. And they were just like, sometimes they were curse words, and it was really quite hilarious. And it was like, the name is gonna have to be changed if it's gonna be marketed overseas. But one of the things I like about this particular water bottle is that every time you turn it, you have an aesthetic experience of a different view, right? You feel like you're not looking at the same thing. You feel like you're looking at something new every single time. And it might be something that you decide to keep as a collector's bottle because it just has that kind of feeling to it, like it's creative or intriguing. But before we proceed any further, I do want to give you a word of caution. And that word of caution comes with not the package, but the color of the product itself. So back in 2000, so yes, 20 years ago, Heinz Ketchup decided that they were going to come out with an entire line of different colored ketchups. And with the release of the movie Shrek, the first one that they were going to put out in the market was green ketchup. And they had done test studies with children, and they found that children didn't care what color ketchup was. They didn't care if ketchup was green. They didn't care if ketchup was purple. They were just happy to have something sweet to dip their French fries in or put on their hot dog. The problem then came with parents, because parents are the actual consumers, the purchasing ones of these products. And so these products failed. And they failed ultimately because adults have color connotations already built up in their head. So for us as adults, right, red means that the tomato is ripe. Green means that the tomato is not ready. And purple means that the tomato is bad. It's gone on too long, right? So we couldn't get past, those of us who were alive at the time, these weird color connotations. They didn't associate in our brain. So it ended up failing. They never ended up releasing beyond the purple and the green, and had a very short shelf life. Now, fast forward to 2020, and maybe you've seen Kellogg's now has a new line of waffles, right? So they're trying to obviously compete. Lego My Eggo isn't working for the new generations. And there's something really interesting about American culture, and that is that we love desserts for breakfast. You go anywhere else in the world and it's not really desserts for breakfast so much. Maybe you got some pastries in France and some other countries. But by and large, we make dessert for breakfast. And so why not make waffles that look like cake and so forth? Again, that's still a little bit out for debate whether these will be a success or not. But people are much more apt to purchase desserts that are multicolored than they are to purchase food. Like bread, we wouldn't eat blue bread, but a blue waffle, that's a possibility. So I guess my question to you guys is, have you guys made any of these purchases? I haven't.
Apparently,
Mhm.
apparently they're doing macaroni and cheese, but marketing it for breakfast.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that, but I'm guessing it's going to be with the color scheme and setting it up more of a breakfast color type of thing. I think it's something they're trying to market, but I'm guessing they're going to do something with color.
All right. So anyway, so my word of caution to you guys is have fun with the packaging colors, right? Make sure they evoke the proper color connotation, but be careful when using colors for the actual product itself. All right. So our next category is illustrative examples. Some of you are incredible illustrators. You have that gifting, and why not use that in a fun way, right? So here's a couple examples. I like the little nuts personally. I like Don Pistachio, right? He's got a little mustache and so forth. Do you guys have any comments on these? So I think they have a great sense of humor. Someone said they really like the childlike illustration. Yeah. I mean, you could even have your child draw it and then just give it in and just go with it, right? All right. So I have some more. This is a non-yogurt substitute. This is a British brand that was launched, I think it was launched last year, and it's called the Bandits. And so they're like these little creatures that steal fruits and vegetables, not vegetables, but fruits for these yogurt substitutes. So yeah, but it's a fun way to mix, you know, like the photorealism, right? The strawberry with these illustrations. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so this one is called Papitos. And when it comes to packaging that can break easily, you don't ever really want to have like a window where you can see the products, because the product itself just doesn't look that pretty. The chips can break, you know, it's just very fragile in that sense. So in this particular case, they've played off of the pop era, right, with the Papitos, And you can see that even they have like the halftone printing up here. I don't know if you can see that really well. But even the colors remind you a little bit of like, you know, Miami Art Deco, and they just kind of really evoke the entire era. In this, you know, comic, even the comic typeface and so forth. So, so yeah, someone said gives me good comic book vibes. Reminds me of pop art. Yep, comic book effect. Someone's hungry for the queso cheddar. All right, sorry. This is another brand. I thought these were, I don't know, I liked it, but I want to know your thoughts. I really want to give you just a minute to take the time to look at each illustration and see if you enjoy it, what your thoughts are. These are Incredi Puffs. So like you have the, you know, cheesy cheddar, and then you got the cinnamon apple pie, and the, you know, Sicilian pizza. And these like cheese puffs are like helping the chefs. Any comments? Someone wants the cinnamon one, yeah. Looks
Yeah, it
old
reminds
school.
me of like the kids snacks. You know, when they come in those little like tub things for puffs and the wheels for babies to
Okay.
like feed on and eat. That's what it reminds me of, like baby snacks.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
but
could see that, but the first thing with the colors, it looks kind of like flames, and it can remind you of something that's hot
mm-hmm.
right off the bat.
So these to me make me laugh when I look at them. But like they're all like helping, you know, the chefs. I don't know if you can see that, you know. So, all right. So some of the comments in the field are the designs feel a little busy. Looks home cooked. There's a lot going on, and the faces are kind of vulgar. I love them. I don't know. Everybody has their own opinion. Okay. Okay, our next category is just the concept of like making sure you repeat elements or you have a pattern. So in this particular case, I've seen a lot of students do watermarks, and I say this in every video, and I mean it so lovingly, but that is so like passe 1990, right? Don't do a watermark. It doesn't look good. Just don't do it. It's busy. Text never looks good over a watermark. This is a really great example of the Gestalt, right, principle, right? And here you just put a, you know, basically a white label, and it blends in seamlessly, but your mind can fill in, you know, the concept of reification. Your mind obviously sees it as a rectangle, and then you can have this fun patterning in the background. And then here we come at this pouch, and they kind of played off of this dot pattern, and you see that repeated, and it just kind of ties the whole thing together. So that's definitely another way to consider it. You know, if you, and then maybe pick an art era. Like this has a very cubist feel to it, right? This has a very, you know, muted, you know, botanical feel to it. So there's lots of ways to go about it. So patterning can be used quite effectively. It's a very popular thing to do. Some of you already came up with patterns in your identity package, so you might want to incorporate that pattern if it works well in your food. These are teas, and you can see they kind of made them, you know, look a little bit more sleek or, you know, sophisticated, upscale with these like flavor cue patterns. Same with these I'm trying to remember what these are exactly. I think they're popsicles, but they have like these little patterns on the sides. Someone said granola bars. I don't think they are granola bars, to be honest. But this one is the Coca-Cola flavor, and so it gives you.
Ice block.
Say that again, please.
It says ice block on it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like a ice cream.
Yeah, some type of popsicle ice cream. But this one is like Coca-Cola flavor, so you kind of get that fizz feeling. And this, you know, they're just different kinds of, like these look like shards of, you know, icicles and things like that. So that's one way to use pattern. Now, when you have a tapered package, you can't really put a lot of content on the sides. So using a pattern that can work really well for those type of packages too. This is a coffee, and they have used the patterns as like a design motif as part of their collection for the different regions. So for example, the Brazilian one, they've incorporated the flags of Brazil and then just, you know, popular design elements. If you go to like the Dominican Republic, they have more of a sea motif. Like Kenya, they have more, what's the Kenya one? That's the Congo one. I think they can, yeah, but they're just really interesting if you get a chance to look at them. This is a Russian brand that's called Mama Mafia that specializes in Italian and Japanese cuisine, fast food takeout. So you can get your pizza and your sushi all at the same place. So basically it's something for everyone. The concept behind it is that, you know, whose food tastes better than Mama's, right? So Mama Mafia. But they use these really great patterns, these illustrative patterns throughout their brand. And I don't know, I just like it. So I don't know if it would work in the States, but it's definitely working in Russia. So, and again, the whole thing is that, you know, they get your food to you faster than a speeding bullet. So this is a little bit more of the brand itself. We have a comment? So we just got, everyone's too sensitive here, okay. The negative space in the hat is a nice touch. It's neat and consistent. So overall, people, I think, feel positive about it. Seems like a fun restaurant. Okay, they like the illustrations, you know, just seafood fighting, right? You know, as you just get, like, it's just entertaining. Okay. Okay. So our next category is what I like to call collectible. And these are rare, and they usually happen to commemorate some big events, such as the Olympics, which didn't happen this year, but hopefully it'll happen next summer. And then again, you know, these bottles then become like one of a kind, where you can save them and just, you know, it becomes art. So here's another one, Beard Up. And these are cans that like you can mix and match the top and the bottom, like as you rotate them to make like funny faces. So I can see a lot of people potentially getting a little too much, you know, a little buzz there, just having fun to see how many cans they can stack. Just people are saying this is fun. All right. Okay, next category is the beauty category. Now, some of you have the beauty products as your selection, and the packaging for beauty products is very different than for food products. In particular, beauty products use a lot of white space, right? White space, negative space, and there's an appeal to youth and longevity. So you don't want to like, you wouldn't like, you know, your icon mark wouldn't be a bar of soap for a bar of soap, right? But a lot of times,
That either,
a lot of times you.
that either.
Go ahead.
I said that looks like it would be at either like some expensive store or it would be at like Ross on the discount aisle. One of the two.
One of the two. But in beauty products, a lot of times you see like this one has like a botanical icon mark and then just like, you know, these translucent looking botanicals here, right? So you'll see a lot of things that have to deal with scent, right? Like where food is appealing to the taste of, you know, your taste, beauty products is appealing to your sense of smell and the idea that, you know, you can look young forever if you use this. So, and that's what you see, you know, in this icon mark, right? It's got like, you know, this youthfulness to it. But you can also, with beauty products, play off of, like I said, the scents. So like white space doesn't have to be white. It just means that it's not like a crowded composition. So somebody's a Ross fan, so they see some of these products there. Okay. So this one uses like these metallics and like foliage and moving water and rose and different things like that for their brand. This is a sunscreen brand. Who do you think the target audience is here?
Kids.
Right? So they made it youthful. They made even the font is just kind of playful.
Did kids design that?
I don't think so. But.
Kind of.
All right. So this is a brand that launched this year. I don't know how successful it's been yet, but Gillette wanted to make a razor brand that wasn't specifically for men or for women, right? So you don't have to deal with the Mach 4 or the Venus, and you don't have to get a pink razor or a black razor. You can just have a razor. And so the whole point of this blue figure is that you don't really necessarily identify it so much as a man or a woman, although there's facial hair and head hair and everything else. So, but again, it's blue. So what do you guys think of
It makes sense. I share my razor with my wife all the time. I mean, okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. She steals my razor all the time.
Okay.
But same concept.
Well, because female razors are overpriced. So. And male razors have the 4 blades where the females don't. So we sometimes just need a better razor.
Oh, I get it. I've just bought a whole bunch of them.
Okay, so this is a Brazilian brand. So this is shampoo, conditioner, and lotion. And again, I just bring this to, this is from one of the websites that I'll show you at the end, but it's packaging of the world. And you can just see like, there's just things that maybe wouldn't work so well in certain cultures that work really well in other cultures. Do you think that, how many of you as men, again, I don't mean to be so biased or anything like that, would buy this?
I wouldn't buy this. It didn't look like something I would buy, honestly. It looks like medicine.
Okay.
Like the bottle looks like the medicine type of thing, that nasty stuff they put on a spoon that no one wants to eat.
Okay. So again, just the idea of like different cultures, different ways of marketing. So somebody else is just, it looks too, I don't know, too gentle. I would, looks like the things they sell at Targets. I like the one the guy has the neck tattoo. Okay.
It kind of look like they're trying to package castor oil or something.
Well, it's supposed to be like, you know, for the hard, you know, worker, like the sailor guy who's just really hard and ruddy, you know, that he can get clean too. Okay. All right, next category is just, sometimes you have really creative shapes in your packaging. So Kleenex several years back wanted a way to boost their summer sales because people don't get sick so much in the summer. So they came out with these like fruity triangular, not really great for store shelf stacking, but these triangular boxes as a way to just, you know, get consumers to just impulse buy. So, and I think it worked really well at the time in that sense. But there's a lot of different ways that you can be creative in your packaging. Here's some juices that I think obviously the orange and the apple, the most successful. The ones that are mixed, not so much. But these, you know, really look like almost like you're juicing it live. This is a brand called All Natural Head to Tail by Castor and Pollux, and they have a line of pet products. And their taglines often say stuff like, no humans were harmed in the production of this product. You can see for the pet shampoo that they put it in a fire hydrant shape. So that's just kind of really creative. So Converse, a few years back, right, the beloved brand, was nearing bankruptcy. And they decided in their marketing, they came up with a solution to try and bring back the all-star Chuck Taylor shoe, right? Let's bring back the basketball star. And the result, they packaged it in this like wine crate, cedar box, right? That, you know, makes it very preserved and keeps it all, really well. The result 2 years later after the promotional rebrand was that they were in the black, and they were subsequently acquired by Nike, and they have since grown to be a $1 billion company. So don't underestimate the power of a great package.
Yeah, but it actually seems like they will put more money into the packaging than they would make for the actual shoe.
I think so. I mean, wood isn't all that expensive. You mean because it's like burned on? So I don't know. It got them in the black, and they sold it for quite a bit of money to Nike.
Looks
So,
good.
so someone said I didn't know they were nearing bankruptcy. I love Converse. Well, they're not anymore. It's my type of shoe. Nostalgia is a powerful tool, right? I agree. It was worth it. Okay. So just some of the highlights of the shoe. Okay, our last category. No, we got one more category. Our second to last category is just die cut examples. And again, die cut is when you have a shape cut out to show the product underneath. So this rope one is kind of clever because it makes it like little beards, right? But what do you guys think of this one? All right, me personally, I don't want any correlation to the animal. I just want to get my meat and be done. I don't want to see it. I don't want to have that lingering in my head.
Right, to know actually where it came from.
Yes, but if you think this is bad, just wait. I've got one that's worse.
Wow.
Yeah, personification, man. This is dangerous. So people are like, I hate this. So yeah, don't do this. I haven't seen this brand, and I verge to say, like, I think they probably had to repackage. They were going for upscale, but they missed the mark, in my opinion. But I don't know. This could be just my opinion.
I think if they wanted to turn all the kids into vegetarians, that would be perfect.
This is like every vegetarian PowerPoint presentation includes this. All right, these are much more clever, yeah? So they've taken the light bulbs and whatever shape they have, they try to match it to the body of different insects. And they, created this really creative packaging. So some people saying it's cool. And then here we've got some Italian pasta and some salad. And again, they've made, because you can't really see the leaf so well when there's, just in a package, they did like little die cuts to show you what the leaves actually look like. So, right? Nobody likes a skinny chef, so this one is clever. Okay. Okay, our last category, and I know we're running out of time, so I've got to kind of speed things up a little bit, is our POP, and POP stands for point of purchase. And you often see these like near registers or end caps or things of that nature, right? So you have the regular package design, and then they all are housed inside of a point of purchase display. And so this is another opportunity for marketing and to draw the consumer's attention. Obviously, it should match the current campaigning design, and just to show the product in its best light. So here's a really Loving Earth has this chocolate brand, and here are some of their packages. And I really love the way they've done the chocolate, illustrations. And then they just use these simple flavor colors in the background. And then this is their POP. So it looks like a set of books, right? Cassie's saying that always draws my attention. I'm usually about to be done with checkout, and then I see things at the cashier aisle. Someone else said it looks like a crayon box. Okay. Ethan really likes the simplicity. I like the simplicity too. All right, so all right, so since we're running out of time, we're gonna kind of skip the before and after game. I'm really sorry, but we were just kind of gonna look at a couple package designs and then just determine, what had changed. And so here, for example, you can't really see, you see a lot of negative space, but by moving the window down below, it looks more full, and just the color cues make more sense. Here again, that horrible watermark, and then, cleaning all that up. And then, just, taking a brand, making it look cheap to making it look like you can get it at Whole Foods. And then, this water, right, looks like from pool water to actually drinking water. So that was essentially like our little game that we were going to play. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to ask you guys those questions. Again, there's just a little bit more before and after. This is another example of a product that has evolved. And this is Bare Naked. And this was their original packaging. And you can tell, like, they didn't really know in the initial phase, how the product was going to look in a pouch. You couldn't even really read the whole name. And it was a lot of the claw marks. And then their second, as they moved along, right, they still kept the claw mark, but then they definitely had the text, much more bold. So that would be my recommendation to you guys, is that, you want it to stand out on a store shelf. So don't pick those fine hairline fonts. Pick something that's going to be legible, right, that can be seen from a distance. So then they moved to this, and you can just see it a little bit better. And now they've come out with their new line, where, I don't know if you can see, but in the K, it has a little bear in profile view, and they kind of play off the different seasons with the bear as well. Now, as I was mentioning, different marketing for different places in the world. So they didn't feel that this would work in the Australian market. So they have a totally different look. They're just about to launch in Australia. And here you can see, they still have like the little claw, but they have these different kind of illustrations, and even the shape of the packaging, right, almost looks more like rolled oats versus like the pouches that we see in the United States. So, all right, so, so again, there's lots of different ways to make a 6-sided box. You guys already have your template, but here's just an example, right? The dots obviously represent folds, and then, these are areas that you tuck in and different things like that. So this is a Sephora hair color, and this is how they made their 6-sided box. And then, like I said, these flaps would tuck in, so the color would just blend seamlessly. So if you guys want to take a screenshot of this, like I said, this is already up on FSO, but if you want to take a screenshot, feel free, Command-Shift-3 to get the entire screen, or Command-Shift-4 if you want to customize. But these are some of the list of elements that you would see on a typical food packaging, right? I put asterisks next to the ones that are most important that you definitely have to include, such as the logo, the product name, the nutrition facts, the barcode, the ingredients, the weights, and the company information and the company of origin. All of that is required. So don't skip the sketching phase. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I can design faster. No, you can't. Don't believe that lie. You will generate better ideas if you just spend 5-10 minutes sketching than you would if you spent 5-10 minutes playing on the computer. And then and then you have other ideas that maybe you can shelve for another project that you never would have come up with, right? So just don't skip that stage. Like I said, even if you just spend 10 minutes doing like thumbnails, do it, okay? So here I've laid out the anatomy for you a little bit more. So again, we have the icon mark logo, the logo name, the product name, Matcha, right? The product description, certifications such as the organic symbol and the net weight. And then on the back, we have the brand story. We have some product claims. Then we have the nutrition label, the barcode, and the ingredients. Now, you can have no, what's known as interfering between the nutrition label and the ingredients. You are not, they will not let you sell something if you have another element between the two, right? That's FDA regulated. Then of course we have the country of origin. Oftentimes you'll have a web address and things like that. You might have the certifications again, and then you'll have the company info, like mailing address and all of that. Here we can see same thing on a bottle. Main difference is, you know, the volume instead of the net weight. So I have a bunch of links that, like I said, that are in the FSO for you guys to explore. But the first one I want to show you is the nutrition label. And so you might be wondering, like, where do I get my nutrition label? Well, onlinelabels.com, they have a nutrition label option. So you can, like, if you're doing a candy bar, you would choose this one, right? If you're doing a regular label, you would choose this one. So you can choose the new one, or you can, you know, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. You would then fill out all of your custom information, whatever you want, and then you just hit generate. And then it creates the label for you, and then you can just download it and include it on your package. Now, the important thing is to remember that the nutrition label must have a white background or a light colored background. So, hold on, I'm just reading a comment. In the instructions, it talks about preparation instructions and preparation diagrams. You don't have to do that. That's certainly optional, but like that would be more apropos if for the people that have like a tea. Some of you have a tea brand, so you would include instructions on like how long to steep, right? Sometimes you have a brand that includes like additional recipes or just fun things like that. So, so yeah, you don't need to include preparation instructions or any diagrams for your product.
Okay, like myself, I'm doing a soap. So I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't.
No, you don't have a nutrition label, but you do
Okay.
have ingredients.
Okay.
So, all right. So that's the nutrition label. So our next one is our barcode. And the barcode must be scannable too. So you have to make sure the color contrast is accurate. And the barcode itself always has to be dark against a light background. You can't reverse it at all, okay? That's the way it's scanned on the, at the stores, okay? Now, here's a creative solution. The barcode's still there, but they've done like this, you know, Mesoamerican, Quetzalcoatl, you know, Huitzilopochtli type of design, just playing off of the entire brand. Now for your barcode, the next link is just this barcode website, and they have all kinds of barcodes. So that's one of the things I want you to keep in mind as you're moving along, but this is a great link to come back to. So if you needed a QR code, you could do that. But you'll just come to the UPC, choose the UPC one that you want. You can customize it to whatever text you want, and then you'll just hit download, and you have your custom barcode. In terms of certifications, there's all kinds of certifications that you can use and badges and so forth. So let's say you wanted the Fair Trade logo, which basically means that it's often found on like honey, chocolate, you know, nuts, tea, things like that. It just basically means that most of the money goes back to the local farmers and workers, as opposed to like the big giants who own the companies. So here's the Fair Trade International, and here's the Fair Trade USA. And these are, you know, you can, you know, search, you know, make sure they're AI, EPS, or SVG, and they'll be vector, and then you can use them in your project. Okay. So if you need additional mock-ups, now most of you guys have Adobe Stock. You can definitely search Adobe Stock if you want to save your stock. You can come to a website like Mockup World, and here you can, they have a packaging category. There's also, hold on, a food category, food and beverages. You can, you know, check out the mock-ups here. Most of these are Photoshop files. where, you know, just says, you know, you just drop your artwork in and it automatically, you know, mocks it up for you. So that's a fun website. Again, all these links are on FSO. Here's some examples of mock-ups, right? And then how you often see that. This is an Indonesian brand. So again, I just point this out to just show you how different things are marketed in other countries, right? When I think of swans, it's not exactly the water I want to be drinking. But this is a great mock-up, right? It shows you the purity of the product, right? It works well. Here's another example. Like a lot of times I'll show you the product and just different things like that. Now, not in our class, but if you want to learn a little bit more about how to make package designs, I would definitely explore Adobe Dimensions. You can create packaging pretty quick and easily. You can probably get something, if you already have the package done, up and running in like half an hour. But you can also use a Adobe Illustrator's 3D tool. And the key to using the 3D tool in Adobe Illustrator is that you would save each face, right? Each face of the package is as a symbol. And then when you go to map the artwork, it'll bring up the symbols panel and you can select the face that you want. So, so someone's asking, can I use my own template or do I have to use the ones I provided? If you have your own, that's fine. Just make sure it's of high quality, okay? All right, so the last thing I want to show you guys is just 3 more websites that you can go for inspiration. This first one is the Die Line. And the thing I love about the Die Line is they have curated topics, but then they also have, I spell chocolate right? You know, categories that you can look up. So if you know, you just want some inspiration based off of your category, you can do that, right? And then you can just search them that way. And the Die Line has, you know, like I said, some of them are just curated topics and others are just on a specific brand. So I apologize for going over, but I am almost done. All right, so that's the first one, the Die Line. The next one is Penta Awards. And when you come to this website, you're gonna click on the competition tab and go to the 2020 winners. And they'll show you the various winners. Aren't these clever? Like with the caps actually looking like the top of the peppers. So yeah, someone said very. But you can then go back and you can search previous years. You can search by country. You can search by category. So for those of you doing a body product, you might want to come in and search that. Okay, last one is Packaging of the World. And same thing, you can come here, search packaging. So if you're working on tea, you might want to look at various tea packaging. You can also search by country and project or materials and so forth. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you for hanging in there.
Just one question. We're not just, I guess what I'm asking is, we're not just stuck to AI, right? We can use Photoshop as well with this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Incorporate it all together, right? Bring all your elements together. Great. So again, the 2 templates are provided. I would choose one or the other if you're new. If you're a little bit more advanced, then maybe you want to make your own. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.